G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's Saturday morning, the sun's out, there's a little cloud in the sky, and it's an unusual sort of cloud pattern, but it appears to be a bit of wind high up in the sky. But it's a glorious Saturday. It's my morning tea time. I'm at work. Had a few hours sleep after enjoying a magnificent concert at the recital hall last night, led by the great George Ellis, a 50-piece symphony orchestra with Dimitris Bassis and a dozen or so backup singers. It was a great night, a night where even though we were wearing masks and asked not to sing, I've never seen so many fluttering masks in all my life. I guess trying to get a Greek to hold back when you've got such beautiful songs, such patriotic songs with powerful rhythm and beat, it's just almost impossible. But it was a great night. And what we'll do is we'll do a walk and talk this morning. I'm coming round to the Opera House, so I've decided to come on the other side. I normally am over there at the International Passenger Terminal, but I think variety is a spice of life, and I like mixing it up in all areas of my life, just to keep fresh and to see what else I can come across on my travels. Anyway, today's book summary is entitled A Curious Mind by an author named Brian Grazer. And Brian kicks off his book with a beautiful quote, a quote which encapsulates, I guess, the theme and purpose of his writing, where he says quite clearly and emphatically that life isn't about finding the answers. Life is all about finding the questions, the right questions to ask. And I've said on other 5am clubs that it's in our nature to generate solutions and answers, because we humans are teleological in nature, which means that once we are posed a question, regardless of what that question is, once we propose something to our conscious and I guess to our subconscious, which follows, then basically the body, the universe will conspire to deliver on that question that you've asked. So the author here then extends the reasoning a little bit further and says that a rule of business, and I guess you could probably apply this to a rule of life, but the author says a rule of business is that whoever asks the most questions and whoever is the most curious ends up winning the prize. So the author then talks about something which I think is important, because a lot of us don't get it. I see a lot of people still trying to compete against each other, against their friends, their family. And the author says that we need to all try and learn to be more cooperative. You know, how many friends, how many people have we worked with, how many people have we lived with, travelled with, who are just obstinate, just painful? But the author says here that civilized behaviour is one of cooperation. So the call to action is to try and be more cooperative in life, where you leverage the collaboration between you, your family, your team, and those around you. And by being cooperative, you also tend to connect. So you connect and basically avoid competing. Competing is good to a certain point, But past a certain point, especially with relationships, it becomes very, very draining and oh so painful. Oh, the sun is so beautiful here. And as I always say, that autumn is by far the best weather to experience in Sydney. I stand by it. Today is another awesome day. So as we said before, when you're curious, when you're interested, it fosters connection. It just makes sense. If you're interested in something, if you're interested in somebody, if you're interested in learning and building and developing, then you're going to be connected, or you're going to try to be connected to as many events, people, and social orbits as you can. So we learn that when you're curious, you can basically spend more time explaining and reflecting on your work. And we also look at having more meaningful conversations, because it's those meaningful conversations that provide the breakthroughs. And the one thing that I learned, I've worked in some fantastic organisations with some awesome leaders, but the greatest salespeople that I know are the ones who are distinguished by the questions they ask and the connection they're able to generate with their clients, with their team, and all of those around them. They are the magic glue that is able to connect and join and bind good people together in order to leverage their skills and make the most of their abilities, capabilities. Because when it's all said and done, we're human and we're social beings. We're wired to be social. We're wired to be connected. And everyone loves, if you learn this point, if you understand this point, then many challenges in our lives will be circumvented. What the author here reminds us of, and we hear it time and time again, everyone loves being asked and answering questions, including your loved ones. So this is going to be a little bit deep, and I guess to some people it could be a little bit confronting, especially to people who have lost their loved ones recently. But what the author here encourages us all to do, and the call to action, the massive call to action, is to ask questions, be curious about your loved ones, without, of course, crossing the line and prying and being annoying. But, for our mothers, our fathers, uncles, aunts, grandparents, the people close to us, how much do we really know about them? And I bet you the answer is you don't really know much at all. How much do you know of your parents' story? Have you ever asked them? Have you ever paid attention? Has it ever been something that interested you? What types of flowers does your mother love? What's her favourite book? What's her favourite movie? What's her favourite wine? What's her favourite food? Does anybody know? And usually the answer is we spend more time telling our parents and telling everybody else what we like, but we never, ever find out from them what their likes are. And as I said, it is quite confronting, because it's only when you lose somebody, when somebody is no longer around, that you realise that you missed out on an opportunity to write some pages into your Encyclopedia Britannica, which only they can tell. And I remember reading in another book summary that the most important thing you can do to your friends and family is to sit down with them, crack open a bottle of wine and find out what their story is as according to them, and have it said from beginning to end. And it may take an hour or two, but just sit and listen. Don't talk. Just say, what's your story from beginning to the end, and just listen. You'll learn so many things, because everybody has a beautiful, beautiful story to tell. And the author then reminds us that just by showing a little interest, you can improve your relationships with everybody around you immensely. Especially today, when we are so bombarded and so distracted with social media, with so many things, that getting through and getting some airtime, even with your children, is almost impossible. So you can save. This is important, so listen up. You can save a deteriorating relationship by asking one specific thing and just showing some curiosity and interest. Now, questions allow you to connect with people, because everyone loves talking about themselves. So as I alluded to before, the call to action is, whenever you're sitting down with friends and you've got a one-on-one situation, you go out and it's just two people, you and them. Don't waste your time talking about other people. Don't waste your time talking about the soccer, the football, work, all the other stuff. Ask them about their story, the beginning through to the end, even your children, because your children's story is different to the story that you have of your children. You know, the things that have impacted them, the things that have made them happy, the things that make them sad. You know, a lot of people don't know, and the reason why they don't know is because they've never bothered to ask. But the flip side to all of this is that we do need to respect people's privacy, and there's a time and place for all of these things. And as I suggested, the time and place is not in a public forum. The time and place is one-on-one in a quiet environment where you've shared and you've broken some bread together, you've had a glass of wine or two, and you're totally relaxed. You know, you're away on holidays, you're at the beach, sitting in the beach chair, lying on the sand, and it's much easier in that sort of environment. But all of us at some point in time need to stop asking the questions and start doing. So we can't just be curious all our lives and spend our lives opinion shopping and asking questions. There comes a time where you need to stop becoming curious and to be action-oriented. So the author suggests that it's good to be curious 90% of the time, especially when you're in a new relationship or when you're with family. But you need to switch off your curiosity, especially when you're surrounded by toxicity and negative people, because you don't need to be curious about what they're saying and why they're saying it. You don't need to waste your time learning about conspiracy theories. No, who gives a shit about all the bullshit that people talk about? But focus, where possible, on the things which are important. But switch off. Switch off when stuff starts to get negative and toxic, is the last point that comes out of this book. So as we learn in the scriptures, it's important for each and every one of us to be childlike. I remember reading that in the scriptures, to be childlike, to be naive to a certain point. But that's an act of love. And the author reminds us here that by being childlike, the benefits of being childlike is that you're open and you're curious. And as the author tells us, this curiosity thing is important for our growth, development, and the health of our mental state and our relationships. So I think I'll leave it there for now. I'm just over here on the steps at the Opera House. You can see the commanding view here of the theatres up there. And sometimes throughout the year, you'll see seals on these steps here. I remember a few years ago, there was a seal pup that was born on these steps, and over a 2 or 3 month period, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger until it was absolutely massive and almost filled that whole step area down there, that little landing. Anyway, let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable. And I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment, where we can become the wind beneath our wings, the wave beneath our boards, the zephyr that billows our sails and flutters our flags, and the massive propellers that churn the water and guide our craft in the direction that we want to head in. Yasas, take care. Let's live, learn and pass it on and make the most of this absolute perler of an autumn day here in Sydney town, where the skies are blue with a bit of grey, but you can choose where to look. But I think if it's not a 10 out of 10, it's certainly got to be a 9, a 9.5 out of 10. Yasas from Jim's 5am Club, and we'll chat again. Bye for now, and daleme. Ciao, ciao.